right, starting off lesson 3.3, function notation. All right, so before we were talking about functions, like f of x equals mx plus b, or y equals mx plus b. All right, y and f of x are essentially the same thing. We're going to get into the details of that later. All right, so here we have f of x equals negative 4x plus 7 when x equals 2 and x equals negative 2. We're evaluating. So essentially this is what we're doing. We're plugging x in here. So we have f of 2 equals what? Well, wherever you see x in this expression, you're going to plug in 2 for x. So I have negative 4 times 2 plus 7, which is negative 8 plus 7, which is negative 1. So f, the function, evaluated at the x value of 2 is equal to negative 1. Let's do the same thing with negative 2. So wherever I see x in the expression, I'm plugging in negative 2. Negative 4 times negative 2 plus 7. So I have 8 plus 7 is 15. So the function evaluated at negative 2 is equal to 15. All right, that's all there is to it. Let's go on to the next example. Let f of t be the outside temperature, all right, t hours after 6 a.m. Explain the meaning of each statement. Okay, what's going on here? So here we have f of t. Here t is 0. All right, here it says t hours after 6 a.m. So if it's 0 hours after 6 a.m., what time is it? 6 a.m. So what does this mean here then? Okay, well this is the time after 6 a.m. and then this is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. So you could say it's 58 degrees Fahrenheit at 6 a.m. All right, that's your answer there. All right, what does this mean then? This is 6 hours after 6 a.m. So 6 hours after 6 a.m. would be what? 12 p.m. And we don't know what the temperature is here. It just gives a variable. So this is n degrees. So it's n degrees Fahrenheit at 6 hours later, right? After 6 a.m. at 12 p.m. And this is p.m. All right. Then we have f of 3 is less than f of 9. What does that mean? All right, well, this may be a little confusing at first, but this is supposed to give us a temperature 3 hours after 6 a.m. And this is supposed to give us a temperature 9 hours after 6 a.m. All right, so for 3 hours after 6 a.m., whatever that temperature is, it's less than whatever the temperature is 9 hours after 6 a.m. Okay, so we could say the temperature at, it's going to be 3 plus 6, okay, so then we're at 9 a.m., is less than the temperature at, what time is it then? All right, what's 9 hours after 6 a.m.? Okay, well, if we add on 6 to this, we get to 12 p.m., and then we add 3 more hours on, and we get to 3 p.m. All right, so it'll be at 3 p.m. All right, and there's your answer for that one. Going on to the next example. It says for h of x, all right, if they use a different letter there, it's the same thing as if you had f of x. No different, okay? Don't get freaked out by the different letters. All right, so h of x is equal to 2/3 x minus 5. Find the value of x for which h of x equals negative 7. Okay, I want you to find the value of x for when this function equals negative 7. So let's replace this here with negative 7. Then we could solve for x, which is what they want us to do. So what do you do first? All right, some people are still having a little trouble with this, so let's make sure we understand this. I need to isolate the piece with the variable first. So that means I need to get rid of the minus 5. So I need to add 5 to both sides. So I get negative 2 equals 2/3 x. Next step is I have this fraction here. How do you get rid of the fraction? Let's get rid of the denominator first. How do you get rid of that? Multiply by it on both sides. Then it cancels out. So I get negative 6 equals 2x. And the last step, I'm multiplying these two here, so I have to do the opposite, divide. So x is equal to negative 3, and that's what they're asking for. Done. On to the next example. Graphing a linear function in function notation. Okay, so here, how do you graph this? This is the same thing as y equals 2x plus 5. All right, now this is the most basic way to graph an equation or a line. All right, I'm going to choose an x value, and I'm going to figure out the corresponding y value. And now remember, y is the same thing as f of x. All right, so you choose whatever x values you want. I'm going to choose negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. All right, and you're going to plug it in here, each of these values, one by one, and work out what the y value is, or what f of x is equal to. So if I plug negative 2 in here, what do I get? I get 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, plus 5 is 1. Plug negative 1 in here, what do I get? 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 5 is 3. Then I have 0 times 2 is 0, plus 5 is 5. Then I have 1 times 2 is 2, plus 5 is 7. And then 2 times 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9. All right, let's graph all these points. All right, so we have the x-axis and the y. We always go left or right first, and then up or down second. So what's my first point? Negative 2, 1. So I go negative 2, and then up 1. Then I have negative 1 to left 1, then I go up 3. Then I have 0, then I go up 5, then I have 1, and I go up 7. All right, and at 2, I'm off the grid. So, and you can see the pattern now. It's going, if you look at these dots, you go up 2, and you go right 1. So if you want more points, then just follow the pattern going backwards. Down 2, back 1, down 2, back 1, down 2, back 1, down 2, back 1, and get a more accurate graph. All right, and then use your ruler so you get a nice straight line. All right, and that's how you graph a linear function or equation, just by plotting points. And once again, you come up with your own x values. I like to use these on the grid because they're not too far off away from the center. And then you could choose whether you want to use more points to the left or to the right along the x-axis as you go along. All right, if you have any questions, make sure to ask. Begin the assignment at the bottom of the web page.